At supper, my father proclaimed, "Your sibling forged his achievements solo, no free rides." The table erupted in cheers. I responded coolly, "Then he'll manage without the $6,000 I send for his tuition each term." The favored son nearly fumbled his drink. I sensed the meal would turn chaotic the instant my mother dispatched the group message. "Family dinner next Saturday." Full presents, no exceptions. I could already hear her tone in my mind, chipper, subtly sharp, acting as if our family wasn't patched together with flimsy tape and pretense. I arrived promptly, as always, carrying a fine bottle of red wine. I sat quietly, assisting with table preparations. My brother Jason, predictably, showed up tardy, sporting a hoodie likely pricier than my computer, eyes glued to his phone, ignoring everyone. Not even a can of cola in hand. Typical. We gathered, me, my parents, Aunt Cheryl, Uncle Mike, and the star of the show, Jason, the cherished one. Mother gloated him as if he'd just returned from battle. My father, after roughly 15 minutes of stilted chatter and eating, rose and lifted his glass. "To Jason," he declared, "who's shown us what grit looks like, who twalled, stayed driven, and reached his place today without charity." Everyone clinked glasses. Even Aunt Cheryl, sober since 1998, sipped as if it were sacred. Jason flashed a smug grin. That cocky smirk made me want to shatter my wineglass. Worse, he bought the myth. Truly, I didn't raise my glass, I just stared. If the falsehood hadn't been so blatant, if I hadn't spent 3 years mopping up his messes, I might have stayed silent. But I spoke. "Then he'll thrive without the $6,000 I send for his tuition each term." Silence. Jason stiffened, drink halfway to his lips. Mother looked like she'd choked on a tack. Father blinked as if computing my words. I pressed on. "And the car insurance I've covered since his 2nd year," I added. "And the laptop I got him last spring when his broke. And the rent for his off-campus place still auto-deducted from my account." I sipped my wine. "No free rides, right?" I said. "He won't need those anymore." Jason lowered his glass deliberately as if a quick move might prompt more revelations. Mother tried to speak, but I interrupted. "He's an adult. If he's so independent, he should act it. I'm just matching my actions to Dad's words." No one spoke. No one touched their meal. For the first time in years, Jason seemed uncertain, not mad, not insulted. Just adrift. I said nothing more that evening. I ate quietly as others cleared their plates. No one asked about my career. No one noted the home I'd just purchased or the team I'd been promoted to manage. Nothing. After dessert, I grabbed my coat, thanked Mother for the meal, and left. At home, I logged into my bank and canceled the tuition auto-pay, stopped the rent transfers, and removed Jason's name from the insurance. No furious texts arrived that night. None the next day either. But I knew they'd come, eventually. Jason wasn't self-sufficient. He was propped up by me. Now he'd learn what life looked like without my support. And this was just the start. 3 weeks. That's how long it took for the facade to fracture. Post-dinner, silence reigned. No texts from Jason, not even Mother's passive-aggressive "hope you're okay" messages. Father, silent. He likely thought I owed an apology for shaming their star at dinner. I wasn't shocked. My utility had a shelf life, and I'd marked it expired. Initially, I savored the calm. I worked, hit the gym, took a weekend trip to Seattle without a word to anyone. For once, I wasn't monitoring my account for unauthorized charges. No urgent Venmo please, no guilt-laden calls. It felt like surfacing after years underwater. Then the fissures appeared. First, an email from the university, "Urgent, unpaid tuition notice." I opened it, curious. Jason's student account was flagged, payment overdue, classes at risk. I closed it without a second thought. I'd kept him afloat for 3 years, rent, tuition, insurance, phones, laptops. I hadn't just aided him, I'd enabled him. I was done. Days later, a text from an unknown number. "Hey, it's Jason, can we talk?" No apology, no recognition, just a weak probe to see if I'd bend. I didn't reply. A week later, Mother called. I let it go to voicemail. Her voice was overly bright, sidestepping discomfort. "Hey, sweetie, maybe we could catch up. Jason's hit a snag with school payments. He could use someone to talk to. He admires you." Right. Admires me when bills are due. Ignores me otherwise. I texted back one line. "Not my burden anymore." Father called the next day. I ignored it, then again the following morning. I picked up, curious to see how far they'd stretch before facing truth. He cut to it. "Your brother's in trouble. His classes are at risk. You could help and you're just letting it happen." "No," I said. "I got him through high school into college, kept him there. I paid for his car, rent, tuition. I did more than you or Mom, and I didn't get a toast for it." He went quiet. "He's family," he said finally. So am I, and I'm done being treated like a spare parent with a credit card. He mumbled about disrespect and hung up. I didn't call back. I thought that'd be it for a while, but a week later, a knock at my door. Peephole check, Jason, no car outside, likely bust or walked. I watched. He knocked again, waited, checked his phone, then the door. He didn't look angry, empty, like someone realizing the safety net was gone. I didn't open the door. I owed him nothing. After a minute, he left, hoodie up, head down. 2 weeks later, the expected notice came. Jason withdrew from university, couldn't pay tuition or rent. He pawned the laptop I bought, sold sneakers, and did what everyone dreaded, moved back with our parents. That broke the illusion they'd clung to, the star student. The self-reliant man, the golden son. He wasn't any of those without me. They were about to see who they'd been cheering for. It didn't take long. A week after Jason returned, updates trickled in, not from him, but through Mother's frantic texts. Just checking in, how's work? Jason's settling, maybe taking a semester off to rethink. Rethink. Their euphemism for dropped out, broke, and floundering. I ignored her. Not out of malice, but because I saw their game, softening me up, hoping I'd swoop in with cash. But the door was shut, locked, bolted. Still, I heard things via family. Aunt Cheryl called, concerned about my parents. Jason was sleeping till noon. Job hunting, but mostly gaming in the basement. He once mocked me for staying in while I worked 2 jobs and studied to earn my current role. The irony wasn't lost. Soon, Jason claimed he was taking a mental health break. Parents echoed he was reassessing priorities. Impressive spin. But the cracks grew, then Father called, not since he hung up. His apology wasn't heartfelt, more a grudging sigh like Mother forced him. He said things were rough. Jason maxed his last card. Father took over payments but was behind. Jason applied to jobs, got none, and was getting grumpy. I stayed silent, then the ask indirect. We're under strain, bills are piling, groceries cost a fortune. Jason needs a nudge to get back on track. Is he still using the laptop I bought? I asked, silence. No, Father said. Sold it, for rent, I think. No, I corrected. He sold it to avoid working. Silence. I said it plainly, calmly. I'm done helping, not him, not you. I gave for years, got disrespect and erasure. You treated him like royalty and me like a bookkeeper. What do we do? He asked. I gave the answer he wasn't ready for. See him for who he is, not who you wished he'd be. A week later, Jason applied at a pizza joint. Didn't get it, no experience. He blamed the economy, the system, me, said I abandoned him when he needed me. Mother texted that. I didn't reply. Weeks passed. Jason started snapping at them, fighting over Wi-Fi, rules, meals. He wasn't just struggling, he was unraveling. They were now handling the chaos I used to absorb. The truth sank in. Their golden son had no savings, no plan, no resilience, just a history of leaning on people who wouldn't call him out. With me gone, he was lost. One night, Mother sent a long text, nostalgia, half apologies, please. He's struggling, your father and I are drained, I don't know where we went wrong. I read it twice, didn't answer. They were tasting the mess they'd let fester. Jason was finally on his own, as they'd always claimed. I hadn't spoken to him since he came to my door and left empty-handed. I thought that was it. But Jake, an old colleague now running a tech firm, called asking if I knew anyone for an entry-level support job. Basic, stable, decent pay, benefits, growth potential. A role for someone willing to check their ego. I nearly said no, but I paused. Jason had been spiraling, broke, jobless, back with parents who once bragged about his independence. Maybe this was the push he needed, something real, earned. I told Jake maybe I do. I didn't call Jason, I called Mother. I've got a job lead for him, I said. Entry-level, tech support, full-time, on-site, real work. She sounded stunned, then relieved, like she'd been holding her breath. Andrew, thank you, this could help, he's stuck. Yeah, he is. She said she'd tell him immediately. An hour later, Jason called, already defensive. What's this, some low-level desk job? You think I need you to rescue me? No, I said. You need to rescue yourself? This is a chance. He ranted, said it was beneath him, that I was trying to humiliate him to feel superior. I let him vent, then said, call it a mirror. Keep thinking the world owes you or admit no one does, especially me. He hung up. I thought he'd retreat to sulking. But 2 hours later, Mother texted. I told him to take it, your father too. We're done coddling. Something shifted. For the first time, they weren't defending him, making excuses. They were exhausted, done with freeloading, fights, delusions. The next day, Jason interviewed. Jake called after. He's rough, a bit cocky, but smart. I'll try him. And just like that, Jason had a job. 9 to 5, tech support. He'd need to rise early, dress neatly, report to a boss, work. No praise for showing up, no applause for basics. I didn't congratulate him. No, proud of you? This wasn't a favor, not a handout. It was his shot to prove he could stand alone. But I sensed this wasn't the end. Jason wouldn't embrace duty, he'd resent it, see it as punishment. His first taste of reality would be bitter, and no one was coming to soften it. Jason lasted 6 weeks. 6 weeks of early mornings, city commutes, and meaningful work where no one praised his existence or gave trophies for attendance. 6 weeks of being ordinary, not the golden sun. 6 weeks of a world where entitlement meant nothing. Jake texted at week 2. He shows up, barely talks, always on his phone, seems annoyed, doesn't ask questions. I didn't respond, I knew what was coming. Jason wasn't made for duty, he craved admiration. By week 4, Jake stopped texting. Then week 6, Thursday afternoon, Jake messaged. Andrew, he quit, walked out. Left his badge, said the job was exhausting and he had better plans. I stared at my phone. Classic Jason quitting when effort didn't bring instant praise. The next day, Mother called, voice heavy. He quit, she said. I know, I replied calmly. Came home midday, no warning, no reason, just done. I stayed silent, nothing to say. Then she said something striking. We see it now. We saw who we wanted him to be, not who he is. We protected a fantasy. I didn't speak. He doesn't grasp reality, she went on. Thought the world owed him what he never earned. True, the fall was inevitable. They'd cushioned it with tuition, rent, insurance, laptops, excuses. Now the cushion was gone. 2 days later, Father called, voice taut. He's got 30 days to get a job or leave. No exceptions. We're done supporting someone who won't support himself. Mother agreed in the background. The parents who once toasted their self-made son had reached their limit. Jason didn't take it well, yelled, blamed me, said none of this would have happened if I'd kept helping. I listened, didn't respond. He'd soon run out of people to prop him up. The world would teach him what my family never did. Success is earned, not given. For the first time, Jason was truly alone, broke, jobless, unwanted. The golden sun had fallen. The silence in their once protective home was louder than any applause. I sipped my coffee, leaning back. I didn't gloat or rejoice. I watched consequences unfold as they should, and I knew there was no return. Jason's era of easy living was over. Everyone, parents included, faced reality. A month after Jason returned home, their house had transformed. The parents who once celebrated his independence were weary, frustrated, awake to the truth. Jason lingered, but his entitlement dimmed. His pricey hoodies remained, but his confidence cracked under unpaid bills, no income, and the realization no one would fix his problems. Mother called one evening, voice cautious, testing. Andrew, we need to talk? I listened. She admitted their mistakes, shielding Jason from duty, ignoring my sacrifices while exalting him. Father felt ashamed for letting it persist. They were sorry, truly sorry. I let them speak, own it. They asked forgiveness. I gave it in words measured, but forgiveness wasn't trust. It didn't mean I'd resume bailing them or Jason out. My wallet was shut, forever. I forgive you, I said. But nothing else changes. No more money, no excuses, no covering for Jason. That's done. A pause, then Mother softly, we understand. The dynamic shifted. The golden sun was just a sun again, planless, unsupported. Facing reality in the home that coddled him. Jason faced consequences. Within weeks, he took a part-time job, cut spending, adjusted to life without handouts. Frustrated, angry, resentful, yes, but he had no choice. My parents couldn't shield him. I kept my life moving, work, projects, living. I didn't aim to punish, but I wouldn't be anyone's safety net again. The lesson landed quietly, firmly, through consequences and boundaries. Family gatherings changed, no talk of Jason as the star, no manipulation. My parents treated me with cautious respect, born of realizing I'd carried unacknowledged weight. I forgave them, but nothing was the same. My financial aid was gone. My willingness to cover errors was gone. That was the change Jason couldn't undo. He had to mature the hard way. I watched from the sidelines as reality did what praise couldn't. Sometimes silence and boundaries teach more than words. Jason adjusted, slowly, grudgingly, to reality. He worked, budgeted, learned no one would fix his errors. My parents humbled, stopped treating him like a prodigy and valued honesty, accountability. I moved forward, quietly proud I'd set boundaries. I wasn't the family's ATM anymore. The respect I'd long deserved settled in, quiet, permanent, unshakable.